Welcome tonight. Hello, welcome. Welcome to this evening's discussion about the Bountiful High School mascot. Tonight, we will be having some input from some current Bountiful High School students. My name is Meg. Thanks for joining us today. I'm the owner of Decolonized Navajos, my personal Instagram account. And we will go ahead and get started with one of our first wonderful people, wonderful students. So let's just see if she's available. Hey, good. Okay, we are going to start with you first since Sarah is having a little bit of trouble getting on the Instagram Live. Is that going to be cool?
Good.
You're a little bit earlier in the meeting than what we talked about, but that's okay, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right, thanks. And I'm sure, Sarah, I think if you connect to Wi-Fi, because last week we were having issues with that, and then we'll try you next. So now that we have our first student on, I just want to welcome everybody to our discussion today. Last week, we talked about the mascot issue at Bountiful High School with community members, former alumni, and one student, Lemiley, who will be joining us again tonight. But we also wanted to give time and opportunity for the current students and very recent alumni to start talking about kind of the issue from their perspective. So, Paige, would you give us a little introduction to yourself, your name, what year at school you are, maybe something cool about yourself that we could know?
Awesome. My name's Paige Mayfield. I'm going to go into my junior year at Bountiful High this year. Something cool about me, I do musical theater. So that's kind of interesting fact.
Awesome. What's your favorite thing to perform?
I just closed a production of Newsies last night, so that's kind of exciting. That's fresh on my mind right now.
Yeah, Newsies is awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. So Paige, how did you come to find out about the mascot issue, and why? What are we talking about tonight from you?
It's just been circling Bountiful. As we know, there's been a lot of negative feelings towards changing the mascot, but there's also been a lot of positive feelings towards changing it. I am in favor of changing the mascot. I think it's something that probably should have happened a long time ago. So I just wanted to start out by saying I've only been at Bountiful for a year. I'm going to enter my junior year, but I've lived in Bountiful my whole life. So I can confidently say there are really, truly good, kind people that live here and that want to do the good, kind thing. And I feel like if those good, kind people knew that what we're doing right now at Bountiful High is truly hurtful to Native American communities, something would stop, especially something that's so easily changed. Like in the long run, that's something that could be changed very easily. Something that made the difference for me was a couple weeks back when the Utah League of Native American Voters released that statement, said Native American mascots have no place in our society anymore. That was enough for me. You know, as soon as Native Americans in our community said that it's enough, that was enough. There's been a lot of talk about tradition at Bountiful High. You know, these traditions have been going on for years. And traditions are a really good thing. Like, good traditions bind the community together. They lift up the community. They're awesome. But there has to be a boundary drawn at some point. You know, there's some traditions, if they tear down entire racial groups, if they tear down individuals in our school, there needs to be a line drawn. Good traditions are a wonderful tool to use in our communities, but there has to be a line drawn at some point. Bad traditions have to be recognized. It makes me think of the fact that Bountiful was founded in 1951. And at that time, Native Americans weren't granted the right to vote in the state of Utah, which is a huge, huge deal. We've come so far as a community since then. It's a completely different society than what we're experiencing right now. So we need to take a look at some of the same traditions that are carrying on since the beginning of the school. we need to change some of those. Some of them need to be looked at a different angle, reevaluated. An example of this is Brave Man. I know that's a really popular tradition of Bountiful High, and if you're not familiar with that, that's when a non-native student, traditionally they're a white student because Bountiful is predominantly white school, they dress up in full headdress. And when I saw that at the beginning of my sophomore year, it was something that made me uncomfortable, but I can't imagine. I like to think about how uncomfortable it would make me feel if 50% of the school population were Native. How would I look at that at a different angle? Or even just like 25% of our school, would I look at that at a different angle? Or what if it was the one person sitting next to me was Native American? Would I look at that at a different angle? Would I reevaluate how we are, how we're carrying on as a school? And honestly, that one student, that's enough for me. If we can make that one student feel comfortable and validated, that's enough.
Wow. That's a very compassionate outlook on this. It's about kindness. So you are obviously a very kind person, and if the mascot name isn't changed, how do you feel that will affect your schooling this coming school year? How will that affect you as a student, a kind student?
I think definitely this year. I mean, it always felt a little off. But I was never involved in like this kind of activism before recently. So I think this year something will just feel wrong about saying about using Braves as mascot this year. It may not be something that's changed right away, but it will definitely. I just hope that we as a community can be accepting and kind, and understand that this isn't some big like social justice warrior issue. This is showing like basic human compassion and kindness and human decency even.
Wow. Thank you so much, Paige. Paige, is there anything else that you would like to say to your community, to your family?
I'd just like to say I know Bountiful is a good place with good intentions. And I think, as we learn, as we grow as a society, we have to be able to adapt to that, as we are able to amplify the voices of minorities that aren't getting a spot at the table. As we're able to amplify voices, we need to be able to listen and learn and grow. And it's not going to be perfect right away, but we need to be able to make changes to make room for people at the table.
Awesome. Paige, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I feel so motivated and hopeful, and I'm just happy that you were able to speak to us today. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Meg.
Thanks. Have a good night. Keep watching. Wow. That was absolutely just beautiful. Looking at these things as a way of looking at it through a different angle, through kindness, which I thought, wow, how beautiful is that? So thank you, Paige. Thank you to your parents for letting you speak, and thank you to all your family and friends that are supporting you at this time. So thank you for that. We're gonna try one more person again, Sarah. We're gonna see if this is gonna work. If it doesn't, we will try something else. Alrighty, we are going to try one more person since it's being all somehow is how we like to say it. Unable to join. Okay, so we are going to try one more person. Just amazing to have students. Hi.
Hi.
Jenna, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. We're having a little bit of Instagram difficulties today, so trying to get people on. So hopefully by the end we'll be able to get everybody on that wanted to speak. So thank you for joining us today. Jenna, would you like to give yourself an introduction, your name, what grade you're in, something cool about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Jenna. I'm going to be a senior this coming year. And something cool about myself is I'm like an artist. I want to do art for a living, I guess.
Oh, awesome. What kind of art, like drawing or painting or digital?
So, I do like special effects and painting, if that makes
Cool.
sense. So
Yeah,
I make
no,
puppets and stuff for plays, and then I do paintings just for fun.
cool.
Yeah.
I love puppets. I have a real hardcore love for the Muppets. They're just the
Yes,
greatest.
they're awesome.
Okay, so Jenna, tell us a little bit about you. How did you get involved in this issue, and what does this mean for you? You know, as you as a student at Bountiful. Tell us.
So I remember vividly, obviously, it was like 2 years ago at my sophomore orientation. I remember going into the gym or the auditorium, and when the Brayman came on, I like leaned over to my cousin and I was like, that's not good. Like, I remember just like knowing like, oh, I don't like that. But I never really like acted on it because I didn't really know like why it was bad. I just kind of got the feeling that I didn't like being there when it was around. And it was just more recently when I saw like a counter petition to like keep the mascot. I was like, oh, like I didn't realize this was an issue up for like, I didn't realize, I guess. So that's kind of what
Did you feel like it wasn't an issue, and you didn't know like how to explain that feeling that you didn't like, or was it just a shock that to you that it was an issue at all?
It was kind of both. It was a shock to me that like people didn't realize that it was hurtful, because I kind of thought that a lot of people felt that way, just like that uncomfortable, like, ooh, like I don't. But I reached out to one of my friends, and he's like, I don't see anything wrong with it. And I was like, okay. So that's what kind of made me want to start like putting like my voice out there about how I felt about it, because I found out that more people felt that way.
So you found a lot more people that kind of felt like you, and so you felt that way, and did you just leave it like that? You're just like, oh man, I feel bad, or did you go and try to learn about it?
I was like, at first I was like just trying to kind of push it out, but then I was like, no, I can't do that anymore. So I like went and I educated myself, like mainly on like cultural appropriation and like what it is, because that's kind of where I felt it fell into with the Brave Man specifically. And so I kind of went and I educated myself, and I looked up like how the groups affected were like feeling about it, because I knew that people were talking about it in like on a national level with different sports teams.
Right. So now, you had this reaction where you're like, I don't know about this. You took the time to really, learn about it. Now you feel like you're in a spot. So now, what would you say to people who, just like your friend is saying, well, I don't have, an issue with it. What would you say to somebody like that?
I would encourage them to just like look at it from an angle other than yours, because obviously just looking at it straightforward, you're like, well, we're not making fun of them. Like, it doesn't seem at a surface level that we're making fun of a specific group. Like, I've heard that argument a lot. Well, it's like, well, Braves is an actual group, so it's not offensive. But I think that the most important thing would be to, like Paige kind of said, looking at it from a compassionate angle, and then educating on why those actions are hurtful and how we can do better and like fix them moving forward, so that we can kind of just like have a healthier relationship with that kind of thing and with the people who were affected.
Absolutely. Thank you. So going into school in the fall, I mean, how are you feeling with that going back to school, or, starting your studies again, if this mascot still doesn't change, how would you feel?
I think I'm kind of just nervous anyways, just like for school in general with, the virus and everything. But I think that going back, there's definitely going to be like a little bit of tension because this is such a like controversial topic for some people. So I am like a little bit concerned about that, but I love the principal of our school, and I think that he will be able to handle whatever comes like just so gracefully, and I think that we'll be able to still have like an awesome year as we work to, get rid of this mascot.
Awesome. Well, is there anything, last words that you want to say to your friends or your family or to anybody that's watching right now?
Thanks for coming, first of all, and just take time to educate yourself. It's a hard first step, but like it helps, and it just gives you a better worldview of other stuff, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Meg.
Thank you. You're the coolest. Yeah, thanks so much for your words, and thanks for being here. Keep watching.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yay. And that's Jenna. Thank you so much, especially to her parents and her family for supporting her, so that she can speak about this. I think what's really beautiful is just how amazing these students are. They're learning. They're coming up with, they're coming against some things that they've always thought, were okay. They're learning something different. They're changing. And then they're fighting for other people to make sure that they have that exposure to that education, that they're fighting for other people that might be affected by this. This is awesome. Like, this is really, really cool. Okay, we're trying Sarah again. It's not working, so we're gonna try. We're going to try. Let's see if it goes. So thank you all for also tuning in tonight. Appreciate it. Ellie, how are you?
So good. How about you?
I'm great. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties still, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Just a bummer because we want to make sure that we get all the students
That everyone
wanted to speak on there. So, Ellie,
And thank you for sharing your platform with us.
oh yeah, no problem. I honestly can't believe people are willing to listen. It's great. I love it. So tell us a little bit about you, your name, what grade you're in, something cool about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Ellie Christensen. I'm also going into my junior year with Paige. Let's see, something cool about myself. I also do musical theater, and I'm a part of the debate team, which has been really awesome learning experience for me at Bountiful High.
Wow, debate. So I'm sure you're having a lot of fun reading people's arguments on each side.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's been helpful because one thing that I learned with debate is in one specific event we prepare a case for, we're given a resolution, and we have to prepare a case for that resolution and against it. And so it's been helpful for me to kind of see where people are coming from on both sides. And I am for changing the mascot, but it's been helpful for me to kind of peel back the layers and see why people would disagree with that, and why people do agree with that. So
cool.
That's been really helpful. And I think one thing that was really important to me just from the get-go was seeing the divisiveness and the contention that it brought in our community. One reason that I really love our community is because it is a really strong community. I think that at Bountiful, partly because of Bountiful High and the deep connection that people feel to that school, there is a really strong sense of togetherness. And so seeing people become so divided over this mascot has been really, really hard for me because, I love Bountiful, and Bountiful High, there are very few things that I love more than Bountiful High. And I realized, when I saw people saying, this is our tradition, we can't get rid of the Braves mascot because that's our tradition. I started asking, why, right now, just for us, the Braves mascot, it's just an image,
Right.
Because obviously we don't, one thing that is lacking at our school, and I also just think in America in general, is education about Indigenous and Native peoples in our country. And so for us, you know, without having the culture behind it, it is just an image.
Yeah.
So I said, you know, why do people feel that connection to this Braves mascot? And I realized, you know, it's not about the Braves. It's about our feelings of togetherness, and it's about the service that we do together, and the way that we treat people. And like Paige and Jenna were talking about kindness and compassion, and you know, the good values that we learn and that are fostered at Bountiful High. Yeah. So I think that, you know,
I'm just like, how old are all of you guys? Like, I definitely wasn't doing this in high school. Like, I was just talking to my parents. I was like, you guys are lucky that, like, I survived. You know what I mean? And you kids are just amazing. Wow.
Yeah, and so I think, you know, as I've kind of been looking at this this discussion, and at sometimes like this debate, you know, I've been like, this is an opportunity. This has never been, and I think you've talked about this, changing the mascot has never been about shaming students or even shaming the adults who have let it be the Braves. It's never been about that. It's about having this opportunity to a better impact our community. And you know, at first, when I first heard about this, you know, coming into question, I thought of it as a systematic issue, not a systemic one. I thought, well, you know what, you're right. The Brave man should be stopped.
Right.
But I didn't see the Braves as an issue at first. I said, well, it's just the way that we have it. It's just the way that we're doing it. We can do it in a better, you know, we can implement education, and we can take away cultural appropriation, which I still think is very important and we should implement.
Right.
But until going out to read, you know, more Native sources and seeing how it was making specific Natives feel, and I'm excited that Lemiley gets to share, and just seeing how having the mascot at all creates this implicit bias within us, and it relegates, you know, hundreds of diverse Native cultures to just this one image.
Right.
I realized that, you know, having the mascot that way at all is harmful. And so I want people to know that this isn't about having no school pride, because I have so much school pride. And it's because I have that school pride that I know that we can overcome this. And this isn't about, you know, this isn't about creating contention. It isn't us versus them. It's the community of Bountiful versus, you know, on Radio West, James Singer used the term systemic bullying. It's Bountiful versus bullying. And by changing this mascot, and there have been a bunch of proposals. I encourage lots of people to write proposals. I wrote one, you can check it out. I proposed that we change it from Braves to the Braves, and kind of amplify a bunch of different voices and different marginalized communities. But it's about all of us coming together, so that we no longer alienate Native students. Yeah.
Wow. Well said. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
Wow. That was probably that. Yeah. All three of you so far. I'm just like, but this is why I wanted to make sure that you guys got your chance to speak, because you're in it. You are there with your peers. You know, this is an issue that's about kindness and compassion, and looking at it a different way, and saying like, that stuff has no place in our community. Like, it doesn't even have
Exactly.
a little tiny bit of room, and you don't want that, which is so beautiful and wonderful. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with people? Maybe how you're feeling about going back to school? And
you know, going back to school, I like Jenna said, you know, it's going to be an interesting way to navigate it with the virus. But I think, you know, like this, I've had a couple of really beneficial and encouraging conversations with the administration of Bountiful High and with Principal Hogue. And I know that they're working to do this in a way where, you know, a mascot is no longer, the purpose of a mascot is to unite us. And we can't really be united when people feel hurt. And this is about us becoming, being the bigger person. It's about us educating ourselves, moving forward. We don't have to feel guilty because there were times we didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know. Yeah.
And now that we do know, we don't need to feel attacked. We can take this and say, let's become better. Let's become more inclusive. Let's become more of the good that we want to be.
Right. Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Your words are so inspiring, and I'm just glad that people can hear them. So thank you so much for speaking out.
Thanks for having me.
You're awesome. Be cool. Oh, aren't they just adorable? Like, serious, for reals. Okay, let's go. We're going to try one more time. 2 more people. See if we can get these. We have Sarah we're trying to get a hold of, and then Brie. I think it's really just interesting to, like, hear, just so many reasons why it should be changed, and they're coming from such just amazing compassion and love and service. Oh shoot, sorry. You guys are seeing my ring so that you can't see what's going on. Okay, we are gonna try to get yeah, no, I got it. My Jamie's in here, or James is in here, and we're probably gonna talk to him in a second. Okay, so we're trying to get Brie on here. Let's see. Okay, we got Ellie, Michaela. Okay, I'm gonna see if Michaela is on. Just because we're having, if not, just go no. Okay. We're going to try. I can't seem to find 2 of our final people. I don't know what's going on with Sarah or Brie. But let me have one person on right now. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, brother. So this is James Singer. And we'll get Lemiley on here too. She's waiting in the wings for our final person. But James, I just wanted to have you come on. You've been brought up the Radio West interview that you did, as well as being the co-founder of the Utah League of Native American Voters. Can you give us an update of what has been happening with the school administration to this point?
We've had some conversations with the vice principal and the principals, along with some alumni, and just trying to get a feel for the process. I think it's really important to see some of those signposts to where we could end up. And so this is kind of an unsolicited stage that the principal said that we're in, and then it will go into more formalized comment period, and then they'll make the decision. And as we know, the decision comes down to that executive kind of staff there, the principal and the 3 vice principals. And so I feel like they're listening to everyone, which is really important. And I just want to tell everyone to continue to keep learning and keep dialogue open. I know it's really difficult at this time to not want to become entrenched in our feelings, and it's good to listen, even though we've decided that this is an inappropriate imagery. And before I head out and you add these students, which have been fantastic and phenomenal, I'm so happy to hear from them.
Amazing! Seriously.
Is to listen into the interview that we had yesterday, just to kind of hear not just what I was saying, but the mayor and also an expert about native mascotry. And so I think it's really interesting to hear, and I hope people share that on social media when they have the chance. So we are going to move forward. I'm so happy that the community, so many community members are behind this, and we're thankful as as natives that our voice is being heard through them and that they're doing the right kind of work. So good on you.
Thank you so much. And
Bye.
again, thank you to all your words. Thanks.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Little does anyone else know, but he's in the other room right now. He's talking to our family. So, okay, so we're going to have Brie. She should be coming on here soon. I can't get Sarah Shumway on. I'm keep doing it. It's not going. I don't know what's going on. Hi, Brie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Could you give us a little introduction on yourself, your name, what grade you're in, a thing about yourself?
Okay. I'm Brie Larsen. I'm going to be a junior at Bountiful, and something cool about me is I'm a lifeguard and a student body officer.
Oh, cool. Lifeguard, that's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. So, you have a very unique perspective of this. I would like to just let you take it out and share what your feelings about the mascot issue.
Okay. Before I begin, I do have to say I do not speak for the student body officers or the school. These are just my opinions and my experience.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for that disclaimer.
Thanks. So I've been in Bountiful my whole life, and I didn't think about the mascot until I became a sophomore and went to Bountiful. And in the first assembly, when I saw the brave man come out, I did question if it was acceptable or not, but I didn't have any thoughts because I didn't really know about cultural appropriation, but I did hear my mom talk about it and how wrong it is. But it wasn't until a later assembly when I was sitting with my really cool friend Riley that she was like, this is wrong and they can't do this, and I'm surprised they get away with it. As an officer this year, we have been designing t-shirts and sweaters and themes and posters, and it's been very hard to find stuff that we can use that is respectful and doesn't alienate anyone. Our advisor has told us we can't use images of people or images of weapons, and so it's been difficult to find stuff to do, and that's something that is a good reason for changing the mascot. Is even if we keep this mascot and educate people, what do we do? Like, what can we put on our shirts and what can we be? It's definitely something that it needs to change because mascots are seen as like school pets and people are not pets.
Right. No, they're not. So that's really interesting to just kind of like, what does it actually mean if you can't, use even, well, why would you though, is kind of like the end thing is like, if you know of what are some of the things that, for you going into school in the fall, that you want to make sure that people know about the mascot issue?
I definitely want people to be proud of our high school, and I think it's going to be hard to be proud of our high school when we don't know what we are and who we are hurting by identifying ourselves as the Braves. I think a change needs to happen soon so that we can be proud and know who we are as a school without dragging anyone down.
Right. Awesome. Have you, as a student body officers or a person who's on the student body, do you feel like you have support to be a student leader in the school on this issue?
I have felt support from people, but it has definitely been difficult with the tear in the community, and it's been surprising the pushback because I thought more people would be on board. I do feel supported, and I do feel good as a student leader speaking out for people who can't speak out for themselves, especially with this. So it's been a little difficult, but it's worth it. If we can change one person's experience, it's worth it.
Awesome. I love that. And I think that's what the sentiments of tonight is, start small, talk, one person learning about it is huge. Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. So it's huge when one person learns it. So what do you want to say to people right now that maybe are kind of like, yeah, those are really good points, but I really love my tradition of my high school mascot. What would you say to somebody like that?
Something I would definitely say is one of my favorite quotes is do the best you can until you know better, and then when you know better, do better. It's even I didn't know how hurtful the mascot was until I knew better, and now I'm doing better. And I think people, once they learn, to act upon what they learn.
Oof, I love that. I love that. You're going to have to send that quote to me because that's really, really good. Because that's all we're talking about is, all right, we're just learning, right? Like this is what life is about, is learning. And I love how you're all coming from this compassion and kindness. It's awesome. I have so much faith in the youth now. I mean, not like I did before, but I do have it now. So thank you so much, Ellie, for everything. And is there anything else you want to say at the end, Brie?
I love Bountiful High, and this is only going to make it better.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, man, amazing. Just, I wish that I wish I was their educator, their students. This is so cool. So we're going to have our last person for the night. Again, thank you so much for the students who spoke today. Thank you so much to your parents for allowing you to speak, and for just the work that you've been doing in getting these amazing aspects. Awesome. Hey, Lemiley.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Moment.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Take your time, girl. So have you been listening to everybody speaking? All of your peers?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, they're great.
So once you get your hair did, I'm going to ask you just a little bit about you, and then I want you to please share your experience speaking at the school board meeting, if that's cool.
I'll say that again.
Okay.
Sorry,
say your name, what grade you're in, and something cool about yourself.
Oh, okay. Sure. My name's Lemiley, obviously, and I'm gonna be a junior this year, and I'm still gonna attend Bountiful after this whole stuff is going down. And what do you like to do yourself? And obviously, I like to draw. But yeah.
So, Lemiley, do you want to share a little bit about how the school board meeting went? Just kind of like what happened and how it went down?
Sure. So, as most people know, I don't talk much. I'm not really people that go up there and be like, hey. But yeah, I tried my best, which is good. I was nervous, to be honest. I was like, I don't want to mess it up. But yeah, it's a good experience. It's a nice experience. I had multiple experiences like this, but
that's good.
Let's not get comfortable with this stuff. But yeah, yeah.
Good. Well, yeah. You shared your experience of a little of how you were feeling seeing at the assembly. So now that you're getting, and you slayed it, as said in the comments. So going forward, what would you want people to know about this issue?
That it's mostly, if you're gonna go into this type of thing, that you have to self-educate on if you're gonna have an argument or a debate with somebody about their topic. Because mostly when someone's like arguing that vanilla is better than chocolate, they obviously have to know about the ingredients and where like their origin story is coming from and stuff like that.
So,
but yeah, self-educating yourself is really important in this stuff, because especially with all this stuff going on, and yeah. Sorry.
That's awesome. So for you, Lemiley, if someone makes a mistake And they didn't know that the mascot issue was, such an issue, and they didn't know what to do. You would tell them, go and educate yourself, because that way you'll know what to do. What's something that you wish that your community would know a little bit about what it's like going to school with a mascot like this?
As I grew up on a reservation mostly and around that environment where our culture isn't really put in public schools and stuff like that, but it's taught because mostly parents teach their own kids about this stuff, or like there's a club, the Unity Club. I was in that for a while, and there's people that have that type of family that are really into the whole stuff like this, and like are all in for it, and they go and they do stuff with the cultural and traditions and stuff, and to have that type of thing is really helpful if you're fighting for something that is wrong towards your people, because at this point most people that weren't born under reservation wasn't around this type of thing and saying like, I want to see it, saying like I'm Native American and like what tribe they are, and like saying that I don't see nothing wrong with it. It's that they haven't had the education on the topic of how it's so disrespectful and offensive and how it's mocking and all that type of stuff, and all the costumes and how the headdresses are just disrespectful to us and to others that are in different types of tribe all around our world. And especially going to school and being that, me only knowing that I'm the only Native American there that's Navajo, and seeing that in that assembly and seeing there was like a display, like, yeah, it was like kind of like the Braves type of like timeline stuff and photos in there, and there's like a headdress that's in there. I saw that, but I didn't put too much mind. I was like, oh, it's just a headdress. Like, I didn't put too much thought, but I was like, I know it was there, and there's obviously a statue inside of there that's with a Native man, and yeah.
Awesome.
But the posters and the football games, I haven't been to any games.
Right. So you haven't seen or heard like the things that they did.
Yeah. With some people telling their side of the story, and I'm seeing how I wasn't aware of this and how people can do this, and yeah.
Well, Lemiley, you are super cool. I hope that you feel a little bit more support over the last couple of weeks with more people.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody's like, oh,
Good. We're gonna have to throw somehow a party for all of you guys, all you students, to just thank you for being such wonderful students and community members. So, Lemiley, is there anything else you want to say? Any last minute things?
Can you speak to you about this stuff? Yeah, if anyone has questions, and if I continue to go to school and during this COVID thing, they can come to me if they have anything like that, because I'll give my best thought into it, and I'll ask around if it will help them with stuff like this, and seeing the side that we're seeing and why it's so wrong and offensive, and having more facts to come up with when having this stuff come up on news stations and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lemiley, and you are such a wonderful person. And tell your family we said, hey, thanks for joining us tonight.
Okay. Perfect.
So freaking cute. Well, I want to just thank all of our panelists tonight. What amazing youth we have in Utah. Holy cow. I mean, really, I learned so much. I also learned that hope can just be from students saying, we want to be kind. Like, this is all about being kind. I am just very, very touched by that, by everything that was said today. Thank you so much for your voices. We have been seeing a lot of good movements, things that the school has been doing that they've been trying to retire. Right now, it is like when we were talking with James, it is the unsolicited listening portion for the principal. So if you could please send your thoughts through email or call the Bountiful High School principal or the assistant principal, and just let them know that, this is an issue that is building momentum. People are learning, they're changing. When we were at the school district on Tuesday, there are so many people, there were stories that they had talked to their neighbor, they talked to their friend about this issue, and the neighbor, the friend was just like, I don't want to hear it, I have my mascot and I will always have it. But then later learning about these things and then realizing and coming to terms with what it actually means. And people are changing. People are being humble, and we're all trying to forgive and move forward. And I always say, just because you didn't know, that's fine. Let's go. Come on, let's pick it up. So I want to thank again, Sarah. I'm sorry we weren't able to get to you, who was another alumni that was going to speak to us. There was just difficulties with that. Jenna, Ellie, Paige, Lemiley, Brie, James Singer, thank you so much for your wonderful words. And we will do this again. We want to make sure that we highlight and spotlight all of these amazing people that are doing this work. So thank you so much for joining us today on this beautiful Saturday night. Please stay safe, hug your family, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.